And really, we have two products.
We have essential oils and we have love.
Love. We have love. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Roxy Saran.
And I'm Adrian Saran.
If this is your first time visiting our channel, we welcome you here. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification if you like our content. And also, if you've missed our first video, you'll want to check the link above, how we got started in essential oils. Today, our topic is, we get a lot of questions that people ask, how do you get this precious oil into your homes? What is the process that dōTERRA undergoes? And I think maybe we're going to answer this by having a dialogue of some questions and answers, and maybe like a puzzle, put this puzzle piece together. But I think it is important to understand the heart behind it and not only the process that it undergoes. So I want to bring Adrian on today and to chat about this because Adrian is a research engineer. He has been in quality control and manufacturing in the dirty oil field for many, many years. Not this type of essential oil, but in the dirty oil. And he has dozens of patents in the oil field, the dirty oil field, in oil and gas. And his brain is just a little bit different than the average person, and I like that because as a mom, I just know that the oils worked and that's great, and we moved from there. But from his point of view, he was ravenous about doing research because that's his gig of finding out why and how. And so I wanted to bring you on today just specifically so we can have this dialogue and let people in, have a peek into what our discussion was like early on regarding dōTERRA and why we chose to partner with them.
Yeah, we were puzzled by the fact that these oils worked to begin with, and to me, why, how are these oils made? Who's making them? Where do they come from? And all of these things were just like, flooding my mind, and I wanted to know the company, I wanted to know the owners, I wanted to know really, are there any standards, coming from a government-regulated type business. Industry that you have to have regulations, you have to have standards in place for a product to call it acceptable, and that's when I realized and I understood from Roxy that the company sets up these picks up a plant and they're like, okay, let's go to the history, to the beginning, where did we find things about this plant, and what are those components? Is there a certification based, on that? And there wasn't anything. There is nothing that governments regulate. So dōTERRA said, cool, let's do a certified pure therapeutic grade type certification, and that's the CPDG, and start to abide to some sort of standards. And if we ask a farmer to come up with a product, if it has these components, that doesn't have anything added to the product, nothing taken away from that distillation, from that plant to the distillation process, we will get it. So when I started to read and find out about these things, I'm like, okay, we know more now. We're putting our reputation on the line, thinking,
absolutely.
Okay, we're telling people about it. I was frustrated, but just because we were frustrated with our situation, I didn't want to give other people a hope that, hey, this may work or may not work for you, and that's true. But in that process, we became passionate about helping other people, and I think in that process of just telling people, and we started to put this puzzle together, and we're going to talk a little bit about how these oils are sourced, and that is, I think, the first piece of this puzzle that we wanted to know, and I think a lot of you would like to know, what is it that makes this picture complete? So do you want to say anything about that process?
Yes, for sure. So dōTERRA essential oils are sourced from all over the world. And this is really critical because you can grow lavender in your backyard or even on the side of the road somewhere. But is it going to have the same properties chemically and medicinally that your body needs? And I assure you it doesn't. So what dōTERRA does is it goes to great lengths to source where the climate and the soil and all of the growing conditions are going to yield the highest potency of therapeutic grade essential oils, and that's what we're looking for. There's very complex chemical testing that doTERRA undergoes, and we'll talk more about testing in a moment. But there is such a great demand for essential oils that people are looking for it. And so our goal is an oil in every home. In order to do that, that means that there's a higher demand for essential oils. And so what doTERRA does is not only do we source from the best locations, but we're actively looking for regions in the world that will also yield similar conditions for that particular plant. Because what if something happens with a natural disaster or a growing season that didn't go well? We want to ensure that we're not in any way sacrificing quality or the potency and the purity. And so they go to great lengths to work with farmers all over the world, and we'll talk about farmers in a second as well. So for example, the lavender that is grown here in the US is going to yield a very different chemical profile, which is much less therapeutic than if the lavender that is grown in Bulgaria along the Black Sea. So very, very different results. So just because someone says it's organic, that's fine. But is it the highest grade medicinally and therapeutically for our bodies? And most of them aren't.
So what would you say about the fact that where do you source these oils, and where do we get them from? I.e. farmers. Where are those farms? So a lot of people ask, does doTERRA own their own farms? And the answer is
nope.
No. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? So
I think it's a great thing.
It is a great thing. It's a good thing. So in many cases, the growers have been growing their crops for generations. We have seen now numerous times 4th, 5th generation growers out there in the world.
And they're really good at what they do.
And we don't know how those crops in those regions behave as good as these people know, because they've been doing this for such a long time. So what did we do? What did doTERRA do? Is basically they lined up with them, they learn from them, and they improve whatever they can, of course. So we pay them generously. I know that the perfuming industry is taking what is the word I'm looking for?
Perfume and middlemen take advantage
of these growers, and especially because these oils need to have a therapeutical properties, and sometimes they don't get that from just a normal growing cycle like a 12-month, or sometimes they even pull those plants out of the ground earlier just because they want the quantity for the perfume industry. But for us, we're looking for the therapeutical properties, and for that you need a lower growing, probably even 16 months sometimes. So doTERRA is going to great lengths to have a good relationship with these farmers and pay them throughout the year, such that they are not forced to go and sell to the perfume industry, but to doTERRA. So we were obligated to not only find the most therapeutic oils, whatever in the world you may be. So 96% of doTERRA, this is an interesting fact.
It's huge.
96% of doTERRA oils are sourced exclusively to them.
Right. So no one else can have doTERRA oils. So a lot of times you'll see a lot of commercials or ads, or people say as compared to doTERRA. Because doTERRA is the largest essential company in the world, and everyone wants to be like doTERRA. So, but
must be a reason why.
Let's demystify this. 96%.
That is a huge deal.
96% of essential oils are sourced exclusively for doTERRA, and we have contracts with our farmers, and so no one else will be able to have that oil. Yeah.
And then I would say another piece of the puzzle, the third piece of this puzzle is. And that's the question I had for Emily, right? For the owners, some of the owners of doTERRA, knowing that, and I heard that, 8 years ago when we started, doTERRA grew faster than Apple, and I'm like, if that growth continues, can doTERRA procure this? Is it a sustainable model? Do they have oils? And that's when we were told, yes, we tend to, and we strive and we work towards having at least a 12 to 24 month stock into our warehouses or in this chain of procurement. And that to me was a very interesting. Would you like to say a little bit more about that, Roxy?
I would be thrilled to tell them a little bit more, but I also want to tell you, if you want more information, you can go to roxysaran.com. And also, if you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell notification to get notifications on future content that we'll have for you.
Of course.
But yes, the sourcing model is really important to dōTERRA. It really is the heartbeat of dōTERRA, because we want to be a blessing on both sides of the bottle, not only for us as the end user, but also on the other end of the growers and the distillers and everyone along the chain, which is a small chain. And we're going to show you that it literally is the farmer, and sometimes the same is the distiller, and then dōTERRA. There is no middleman, and that is very important to us.
Yeah, we have changed that treacherous path for the oils to get to, you and I.
Most companies go through multiple middlemen, and
Correct.
so what ends up happening is not only do you not know what is in your bottle anymore, but it's being diluted along the way. So dōTERRA only works with small scale farmers and harvesters, and many times they're in disadvantaged areas, and we want to ensure that they're treated ethically. And dōTERRA calls this Coimpact sourcing. And don't let that term scare you, but it's really just developing long-term partnerships and creating something that's sustainable. We want to provide jobs for them. We want to provide a fair income. I've heard too many stories of farmers that were taken advantage of. They have this excellent product they want to bring, and some of them, like you mentioned, an 18 or 24 month growing season, they've worked hard, and now they've got this crop ready to go, and then middlemen come in, and either they don't get paid or they're paid less than what they're worth. Their crop spoils, and they've ruined all of that work. And so sometimes they're in a pinch where they just have to let it go to market for less than. And so, or sometimes they don't even get paid at all. They've given the product away with the promise that they're going to get paid, and then they don't. So what dōTERRA does is, we don't want to do that. We want to do the right thing. And dōTERRA pays more for their oils than any other essential oil company. But as an end user, our oils are a lot of times less expensive than some of the other competitors out there. And I'll say competitors because they think they're competitors. I don't consider them competitors. But
it's an interesting fact. How can a lemongrass oil from the hills of India can end up at our doorstep for what?
$11.
For $11.
Yeah, and it takes them 3 days to harvest. Ladies harvest these bundles on their head, and they carry it down the mountain in India for 3 days, and we get it on our doorstep. It's $11, and people say it's expensive. That's shocking to me, how we just don't understand the value of what we have, these precious oils. But dōTERRA, again, we work with providing sustainable jobs and a reliable income for these underdeveloped areas, and we're just committed to them, to treating them fairly with on-time payments. dōTERRA has never missed a payment with any of our growers or any of the wellness advocates.
That's true.
And that is important. One of the reasons that Adrian and we started the business of dōTERRA, of course the oils worked for us very quickly, but the business came about a month later when we thought, this is unbelievable, moms need to know about this, and I started sharing it really kind of organically. I wasn't looking for a business necessarily at that time.
For sure. You ran away from it.
But the real reason, if it's okay, I know we haven't talked about this, I want to share with them the real reason we started dōTERRA as a business for our family was to provide education for our children, to be able to put them in a private school. That was really important to us at that time, and it continues to be. But the same reason that these farmers are creating an income to be able to put their children through school. And that gets me really emotional because it connects it to me. It's personal to us and to our family.
It is.
So when we're supporting these small farmers all over the world, we are getting the most pure and potent essentials, but we know we're being a blessing in over 46 different countries all over the world. So not only does Coimpact sourcing, meaning getting the best chemical property, we want that for sure, but we want to make an impact. And I love that part of the Coimpact, the impact part, where we're giving back to local infrastructure. We're building schools and hospitals, jobs, co-ops, and helping educate. We're building water wells It's so much.
I was going to say oil wells. No,
oil wells.
It's water wells.
Water wells.
Yeah.
So 2/3 of the countries, doTERRA sources from over 46 different countries. We have over 100 essential oils that make up the different blends. So over 46 different countries, but 2/3 of them are third world countries.
That is amazing.
It's amazing to me. And sometimes, another cool fact about doTERRA, sometimes we pay in goats or chicken or livestock, not necessarily money, because money might mean nothing to them in that particular region of the world. Isn't that amazing? I mean, it just blows my mind how innovative I think doTERRA has been to meet the needs of these farmers and to be able to give back. So if you have one tagline that you're going to take away from today, is doTERRA truly wants to source the best and help the most. And we really mean that. And I hope you can feel that even through our videos, that our heart and our passion comes through, because that really is what it's all about.
And dōTERRA is so transparent, and I know that, you know, for some of you that may not be familiar with, you know, it's a debt-free company, has grown to, you know, like I said, very fast, and even the projected growth, we're always overpassing that, and we're always building on top of building, but
by the time they build the new manufacturing facility, we've already outgrown it.
Correct, and it's not a simple thing. Remember, dōTERRA is using the same equipment as the medical field as it needs to. And talking about transparency, we have, you know, visited the corporate offices and facilities where they bottle these things, and then the multiple sourcing trips available to us as advocates of the oils. And this transparency level, it's unheard of. I don't know anybody that does that. So we as a family have been to one of the biggest distillery that we have as a company, and the only one in Bulgaria. That's where we distilled yarrow palm, melissa, rose, and of course lavender that grows on that edge of the Black Sea. And then
let me just say, we went on that sourcing trip.
That's awesome.
Our kids absolutely loved it. That was one of the coolest things.
We were home in Romania at the time,
and we were able to travel.
Country, so we were right there.
They had such a good nap after that lavender field excursion.
That's true. That's true. Another thing they distilled at that facility, it's all the frankincense from the Oman, Somalia region, and then we went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
We planted sandalwood trees in the mountain of Kona there.
So dōTERRA was part of a reforestation project in Hawaii with sandalwood. So not only are we harvesting sandalwood there, which is amazing, but we want to replenish the earth. We want to give back. It has to always be fair trade and sustainable for future generations,
correct.
right?
And the sandalwood being it takes 40 years to grow a tree of sandalwood, and you have to, you get from an 8-10 inch tree about a liter of oil. It takes a long time to get there. So you see, dōTERRA is not just using all of these places, but it is putting their best efforts into growing these plants, trees, whatever that is. We went to Jamaica. We did ginger in Jamaica. We planted ginger.
A cool trip.
That was a cool trip. Where else did we go? Dominican Republic. We went to. There was vetiver.
Vetiver sourced from the Dominican Republic. Okay. Absolutely.
So some cultures, they're not problem, not problem oils or plants, but we did have an experience with 2 years not having melissa because of the floods. Had melissa a few years ago. So
melissa essential oil, it grows in Bulgaria and is distilled there. So melissa is an oil that's really picky. And melissa oil, sorry if your name is Melissa, we're not picking on you, but the plant, the oil melissa,
the chemical profile of melissa is very
and
unique.
It yields 1/10 of 10%. Like, that's even mind blowing, right? It's a fraction, right? A fraction of a fraction, 1/10 of 1%.
1%, you said
So,
it.
I'm sorry, yeah, 1/10 of 1%. So it yields such a small amount, and it has a 2-year growing season. Well, they had a rainy season in Bulgaria for that season, and dōTERRA was out of stock with Melissa for 2 years. And it's one of the pricier oils, but it does some really amazing things. So dōTERRA could have just put a subpar product out there, but they chose not to do that.
So an interesting thing that happened right after that, the corporate office received no less than 8 different samples of Melissa. As soon as they found out that dōTERRA had a problem, and this was all adulterated oil. And there is something
all
to
the
be said with
samples they
respect.
received at the corporate office
Correct.
within days of announcing that we were out of stock of Melissa. They had samples in their office, but all of them had been adulterated. And
that's
we would
unbelievable.
rather not offer an oil than have a sub product. So when we have a contract with our growers and the chemical profile does not meet dōTERRA standards, the batch will be rejected and it'll go back to the farmer. And then the farmer, of course, what are they going to do? They're not going to throw it out. They're going to sell it to someone else that will take that product, but it won't be a dōTERRA product. So that's very important to note that we just won't accept that product. So I think another thing that's really important, and I hope this is helpful in just getting a glimpse into dōTERRA and their heart and why we choose to work with the farmers. It probably would be easier to own your own farms, I would imagine. But working with small-scale farmers all over the world, and I hope this gives you a picture, a beautiful picture of the heartbeat of dōTERRA and how it is fair trade and sustainable and creating jobs for families all over the world so they can put their children into school as well and provide food for them. So our superior standards, harvesting and distilling, and the testing of essential oils, all of that fits together. We're proud. We are absolutely proud to represent dōTERRA.
We have no fear of using the oils. We have, we know that oils work differently for everybody. If, roll back to the beginning, the oils came, I helped our son, and it took a month for me to say, yeah, these things are, I trusted it, I started researching it, but I had an awful headache for like a whole day one time when I came home from the office. I was still in a conference call somewhere in Europe and Asia, and I said, honey, I'm on a call. It was like 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. She's like, do you want dinner? I said, no, I had a headache and I'm on this thing. I need to finish. I'll be in the office. I'll just go to sleep. This headache won't let me go. It's like, I have something for you. And I remember, she comes and swipes my forehead and the back of my neck, and she's like, "It's okay. This is I will teach you what peppermint can do for you." And I finished my call, walked out of the office, and I said, "I do want dinner." She's like, "I thought you said you don't want a dinner.
Thought you had a headache.
That you have a headache." And it was that personal experience, and I think that's what it takes, a personal experience.
I want to go back just for a moment. And can we talk about testing?
Yes.
I know that might be one of your favorite things because in your research and engineering, you were a test engineer as well. But I think not only is the sourcing important and creating these jobs and the Coimpact sourcing, working with the farmers, the heartbeat, all of that, but truly if we stopped short, it wouldn't be what it is today without this part as well. So they all really do fit together. But the testing, so not only do we have the raw material harvested and distilled, a lot of times it's distilled by the farmer. There's a few instances, like in the Bulgaria, that it's distilled at the esoteric distillery. But most of them, they're harvested right away. So not only do we have the raw material that's distilled and harvested, and many times it is tested right away by the distillers, by the farmers. So it undergoes 5 different tests. If anywhere along the way it doesn't meet the standards, dōTERRA is not going to purchase that oil.
That's exactly true.
Once it undergoes those tests and it does make it through to being shipped to dōTERRA, dōTERRA is going to run its own 5 tests on it to ensure potency and purity again. We want to make sure nothing changed in the shipping. Everything has to be legit. Once the essential oils have met all of the standards and they're actually bottled, they're going to go through the same 5 tests again, because we want to make sure nothing along the way, nothing added, nothing diluted, no pesticide, no herbicide, no contaminants, anything along the way could disrupt. And
we have to have something that differentiates us from the rest. And I think having a battery of, is it close to 25 different tests that dōTERRA does, on our own products, it just speaks volumes to where we are and why we grow the way we grow.
Right.
Because oils work.
And only then are they released for personal consumption. Only then.
Only then.
So maybe you have some questions about sourcing or how do you know? You can go to the source2you.com website. It's an excellent website. You can read about the growers and the distillers and even our medical advisory board.
Are you saying that I can even know what's in the bottle?
Absolutely.
Where's it coming from?
Yes. So you can go to source2you.com. And in the top right-hand corner, there's a box where you can enter in your lot number. So every single dōTERRA oil has a lot number at the bottom that you can introduce into the Source2You website and see the testing that has been done on that bottle. And no other company offers that type of transparency because we don't have anything to hide.
That's amazing. That is amazing. So,
in conclusion,
we need to wrap this up.
This was a little bit longer, but I want to give you the heartbeat of dōTERRA. And so not only do we employ just the most intelligent of the process of getting these amazing essential oils to us, but most companies are going to focus on a profit. That's what they're looking for. dōTERRA, we're focused on making a difference. And really, we have two products.
We have essential oils and we have love.
Love. We have love. I hope you feel that in our videos. We hope that this has given you a picture of this puzzle, this beautiful puzzle of how dōTERRA gives back to these communities. When you buy a bottle of essential oil, it is impacting small-scale farmers all over the world. We're building hospitals and water wells and earthquake-proof schools and
hospitals.
Absolutely, so many things. And you know what? A personal story, and we'll wrap it up on this. We live in Houston, and when we had Hurricane Harvey here a few years ago, we were still in the middle of the storm, and I got a call at midnight from Miss Emily Wright, one of our 7 owners. And when one of the owners calls you, you really should answer your phone regardless of the time. Hi, Emily. And I did. I answered the call, and she said, tomorrow morning, we're going to have 2 18-wheelers of supplies for you, for your community. Can you have a team there tomorrow morning at 8? And we couldn't even get out of our community, but you don't ever say no. So we said, yes, we'll work it out. And we were able to assemble a team and distribute hygiene kits in our area that are made up of just a toothbrush and toothpaste and an essential oil and a first aid oil that you would be able to help these families that have lost everything. And we were part in distributing that in our community. And it was such a touching experience because people who have lost everything, when you show up with a hug and a smile to say, I'm here to help, here's a toothbrush, it means something to them. And again,
that's the hard part.
That's the heart of dōTERRA. And so thank you. They not only say this, they mean it and they live it out.
And so, but first, and what we wanted to make sure is that just like we were with this product, afraid of that safety, and we have passed that by doing the research. We hope that this has helped you now to really have breaking that wall of fear of really what oils are, and this, especially with the product such as dōTERRA's product, where if it works, you know why it works. There is a lot that goes behind, and it's done with love along the way.
So rapid fire. Do you think dōTERRA essential oils are safe?
Yes, they are.
Do you think they can help people?
Yes, they can.
That's why we're here. And that's why we want to share this with the world worldwide, is because we are passionate about it. We have tasted and seen firsthand how essential oils have impacted our family, specifically dōTERRA. That's why we choose to partner with them. We're absolutely proud to represent dōTERRA, to work with them for the last 8 years.
Exactly.
I would not trust any other company with essential oils on my baby or on my family.
And that's the reason why we're taking it worldwide now.
That's why we're here.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you being here. Please subscribe and ring the bell as you if you're interested in knowing more tricks or whatever you call them along the way.
Yeah.
And what is the next video you're going to do about?
Next video, it'll just be me on this next video. You're off the hook, Adrian.
Is not the men class?
The men's class is coming up in the future, but our next video, we'll be talking about our essential oils and specifically dōTERRA. Are they safe for pregnancy? So make sure you check out the next video, and we will see you next time. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching today's video. We hope you found it super exciting and helpful to take a peek into the world of essential oils. As always, we appreciate your comments and feedback. Be sure to comment below and let us know what was your favorite part of this video. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed, you don't want to miss our next video.